This Wednesday marks the fourth annual federal observance of Juneteenth in the U.S. Juneteenth, celebrated on the 19th of June, began in 1865 when the federal army arrived in Galveston, Texas, to enforce the Emancipation Proclamation to ensure that all slaves knew that they were indeed free. Now, you're just looking at pictures from events from today. I just want to make sure that we give you some context here. President Biden signing the bill making Juneteenth a federal holiday back in 2021. And we have Quintard Taylor, Executive Director for Black Past, joining us. Thank you for being here this afternoon, Quintard.
Well, thank you for having me.
You know, this is among America's newest federal holidays. What is something you wish all Americans knew about Juneteenth?
Well, there are a lot of takeaways in terms of Juneteenth, but I think the one that's most important is the fact that this is a reaffirmation of freedom. Now, it's specifically freedom about African Americans, the black slaves in Texas. I think about 250,000 enslaved people who were made free by the Juneteenth Proclamation on June 19th, 1865. But in effect, it's a much larger story. It's about how we all need and deserve freedom. In other words, and it's an old cliche, we are not free, all of us, we are not free until all of us are free.
But this,
in other words, as long as there are segments of the population that are unfree, then that's a problem.
But what do you mean by that in modern day terms? Because what it sounds like is you're saying that there are some people in this country who are not free.
Well, one of the legacies of slavery is that we still have racial discrimination. And unfortunately, it exists not just in Texas, where I am, but it exists in a whole host of areas across the country. And so we still have work to do. And so if anything, Juneteenth should be a celebration, but it should also be a reminder of the fact that freedom is not complete for many, many African Americans. There are many challenges economically, there are challenges politically, there are cultural challenges that we still need to address as a people, as African American people, but the entire nation needs to address as well.
Well, you mentioned the entire nation. Do you believe that there has been proper messaging surrounding Juneteenth so that all feel welcome?
I don't know if I can say what all feel, but I do know that there is a concern among many of the original Juneteenth supporters. And when I say original, I mean the people who were supporters of Juneteenth before it became a federal holiday. There is a concern, even a fear, that it will become commercialized. In other words, the paradox of having a holiday is that on one hand, there's national recognition. On the other hand, there's the fact that people may eventually see this as nothing more than another holiday to take off, like Memorial Day or like Labor Day. We need to make sure that we remember why we celebrate Juneteenth. We need to make sure why we celebrate all holidays, but we especially need to make sure that we see Juneteenth as a reminder of the fact that we all have a vested interest in freedom.
Well, and you know, half of Americans don't even know what the true meaning of Memorial Day is. So I would be curious to know how many people actually understand the true meaning of Juneteenth. But what's planned at your local celebrations?
Well, I'm in Pearland, Texas, and I can tell you that we're probably 30 miles away from Galveston. And Galveston, of course, as you know, is where Juneteenth started. I'm not going to participate in any celebrations here because I'm unfortunately on my way to a conference in Tulsa, Oklahoma. But there will be a number of celebrations in Galveston, and there are a number of official celebrations, quote unquote, in the Houston area. But I suspect there are celebrations of Juneteenth all over the country now.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Lots of parades, lots of good food. Thank you very much, Quintard Taylor, for being with us. We appreciate it. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.